Most people dream about what they'd buy if they were rich. Expensive cars, designer clothes, a more expensive phone. Do you want to hire a chef to cook every day, maybe? We tend to think of upgrades to the things we already have in life. Being rich opens up your world to far more than that, though. Money gives you the opportunity to buy whatever you want. The only limit is your imagination. Here's our list of 8 things that rich people buy that you've likely never heard of. Welcome back to Lifestyle Billionaire Club, where future millionaires and the new rich come for inspiration and education on how to reach their goals, build true wealth, and learn to keep it. This channel isn't for the lazy, so if you aren't here to get inspired, you may as well leave now. But if you're a connoisseur of the good life, welcome. You've found your home. And before we get into today's video, if you're dedicated to hitting your next level and continuing to learn and grow, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications. And if you get value out of today's video, share it with friends. Because remember, getting rich is more fun together. So let's get into it, shall we? We've had some fun with this list and we hope that you enjoy it too. If you've ever wondered what you can spend your wealth on, we're here to tell you that there is no end to the possibilities. Wealth opens up another layer of things that you might not need, but you might want. And at the top of our list, we have pet cloning. 1. Pet cloning. We started with this because who wouldn't want their beloved pet to live forever? Pet cloning itself has been around for over a decade, and if you have a cat, dog, or horse that you can't bear to live without, then it costs around $50,000 for a dog, $30,000 for a cat, and a whopping $85,000 for a horse. The procedure uses a tissue sample from your deceased pet to produce a genetically identical version of Tittles, Rover, or Star for you. Although Tittles Jr. will have the same genetic material as Tittles Sr., genes can express themselves in different ways, and this can cause variety in markings and eye color. Personality is another thing that can't be replicated in the lab. Although there is a genetic component to personality, it's also shaped through our environment. So if you go down the pet cloning route, then be aware that your new pet may not be identical in every way. This doesn't seem to be stopping anyone, especially the rich who don't want to let their pets go. Barbra Streisand famously had her dog Samantha cloned twice in 2017. This procedure looks like it's growing in popularity, and more companies are appearing that either offer the service or are working in partnership with companies who do. The quest for eternal life goes on with our next item on the list. 2. Young blood transfusions. Yep, you heard right. Back in the 1950s, research was being undertaken by surgically joining an old mouse to a young mouse. The procedure is called parabiosis, and the circulatory systems of the mice are joined. Research from these experiments showed some increases in the longevity and tissue function in the older mice. Not surprisingly, in later years, it was found that the procedure had more of a negative impact on the younger mice than a positive impact on the older ones. From this grew the idea that young blood could positively affect the health of older people. In the US, a startup company called Ambrosia decided to further the research into the beneficial effects of young blood on older people using donated plasma from people aged between 16 and 25. This offer was made available to over 35-year-olds for the cost of $8,000. By 2017, 600 people were lined up to give it a try. Although Ambrosia called it a clinical trial, there was no control group. The founder called it unfair to give a placebo to paying clients, so any findings are anecdotal and not conclusive. Ambrosia closed down due to concerns from the FDA in 2019. It wasn't just Ambrosia that started to offer this. Another company was charging people up to $285,000 for a paid trial into the effects of young blood transfusions, again with no control group. Around the same time, actual scientific research was taking place to see if proteins in young blood could be used to treat Alzheimer's disease. Although things seem to have gone quiet on that front, young blood transfusions are unlikely to be the elixir of youth that these companies claimed. But they did offer a brief glimpse into the fountain of wealth for them. Money can buy you pretty much anything in this world. It can give you choices that people only dream of. And it can buy you freedom in more ways than one. 3. Ransom and kidnapping insurance. It's no surprise that wealth and fame can make you a prime target for kidnapping, especially in some parts of the world. And so, a need for kidnapping and ransom insurance has emerged. Kidnapping and ransom insurance can give you peace of mind, and a means to buy your way to freedom again when you're in countries that have a lucrative kidnapping and extortion trade. It's not just high-profile celebrities, politicians, and the wealthy who will invest in this type of insurance. If you're a frequent traveler to any kidnapping hotspots, then your company's corporate insurance will more than likely cover you for this. These policies can also cover your spouse, children, close relatives, and staff members of your household. Although these policies aren't just for the wealthy, they cost anywhere from $1,000 a year upwards, depending on the coverage and where you're traveling to. Your average person on the street simply doesn't need it. Of course, the most important thing to remember if you do have this insurance is not to shout it to the world. You don't want to give anyone any ideas. Speaking of ideas, being rich means it's possible to meet the people who inspire us and whose music we love. Not that you're going to be running in the same circles as them. No, you might be able to rent your favorite celebrity instead. 4. Rent a celebrity. Being rich won't guarantee that Justin Timberlake is going to be your friend. But if you have enough money, then you might be able to hire him to sing at your birthday party or attend your event. Renting a celebrity can cost anything from $500 for a Maxim magazine model to over $1 million for Justin Timberlake. Of course, some celebs can't be bought. Bruce Springsteen and U2 aren't for hire, no matter how much money you have. To find out if your favorite person can be hired, there are companies that specialize in either finding a celeb for your budget or negotiating a price with talent agencies. They also deal with the logistics of getting the performer to your event and ensuring they do what they've been hired to do. Personally, I've always wanted Morgan Freeman to read to me. It might be time to start saving up. How about you? Who would you most like to meet if you could? Let us know in the comments below, and remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get back to our list. 5. Space tourism. Even though technology is still being worked out, it looks like space tourism is going to take off in the next few years. This can be anything from taking a 90-minute trip into space or spending 10 days on the International Space Station. Of course, there's a hefty price tag attached that only the super rich and wealthy will be able to afford. The options so far seem to be with Virgin Galactic, SpaceX, and Blue Origin. Virgin Galactic are still working on the kinks on their space tourism program, but they are selling tickets for future trips. Their early buyer special costs $250,000, and 700 people signed up for it. This year, the price has risen to $450,000, and the company is still aiming to have 3 flights per month sometime in 2023. For this, you'll get a 90-minute flight with 4 other people. You'll be heading off up to space, stopping for a bit for a zero-gravity floating out-of-your-seat experience. All of the training you'll need, and a special spacesuit and boots. In 2020, SpaceX took paying customers to the ISS for a 10-day trip and costing a cool $55 million. This astronomical price tag did include training, the launch, and the daily cost of living on the ISS. It's not cheap to get your food delivered up there. Blue Origin, founded by Jeff Bezos, haven't released a price for their tickets into space. They're being auctioned off to the highest bidder in private auctions. Jeff has decided to let the market decide on the price. As a result of this, we have no idea what it will cost. We're guessing it will be a lot. As exciting as it would to be one of the first space tourists, it's clear that there are still a lot of kinks to be worked out. The failed launches and exploding rockets, for instance. Perhaps it's wiser to save your money for the earthly pursuits, like visa-free travel around the world instead. 6. A second passport. Going to space may not be on the cards quite yet, but visa-free travel to a lot of countries is, for the right price. Citizenship by investment is a much faster way of obtaining a second passport than citizenship by naturalization. Instead of living in a country for a number of years, you can buy your way in. Having a second passport opens your life up to even more freedom and choice. If you're a lover of travel, then not having to apply for and buy visas can save you time, money, forward planning, and paperwork. You can just get on a plane and go. A second passport can give you different options relating to tax, work, and education. And it's always handy to be able to live somewhere else should a crisis occur in your own country. During the COVID pandemic, the super rich chose to take advantage of their second passports and moved their families to less crowded and safer countries. Brexit has had a similar effect on where the rich are choosing to live. For 600,000 euros to 750,000 euros, you can buy a citizenship of Malta, and that will give you visa-free travel to 185 countries, plus the right to live and work in any European country. The Maltese passport is ranked 8th in the list of powerful passports based on visa-free travel. And if you have the cash, it's a good one to go for. If you aren't up for spending quite that much, then Dominica in the Caribbean is a good option, tipping the scales at a mere $100,000 and giving you access to 142 countries visa-free, including the UK. It is tempting. On the other hand, what is the point in having wealth if you can't buy some weird and wonderful things with it? 7. John Lennon's tooth and dinosaurs. Yes, you've heard right. Of course, you can have your home designed as if you were living on a movie set. A full-size in-home cinema and all of the designer clothes you could ever want. But it can also buy you something no one else has, like John Lennon's tooth or a dinosaur. In 2011, a Canadian dentist bought John Lennon's tooth for over $31,000. Rumor says that he was going to display it in his surgery and show it to other dental surgeries and schools. When asked why he bought it, he said that he had to have it. The tooth was originally given to John Lennon's housekeeper, as her daughter was a big Beatles fan. The tooth was kept in the family and presumably treasured until it was time to sell it on. As strange a gift as it was, it worked out well for the family. Bones really are a popular item for sale, and if you like dinosaurs, there are some incredible archaeological finds that make it to auction, or are available to buy in specialized shops or galleries. An undisclosed buyer bought a Diplodocus skeleton for $1.68 million in 2018 in Paris. A 90% complete skeleton of a T-Rex called Sue sold for $8,362,500 at auction to the Field Museum. Actor Nicolas Cage returned a Tyrannosaurus bataar skull back to Mongolia in 2014 after outbidding Leonardo DiCaprio for it back in 2007. Gone are the days where you had to visit a museum to see fossilized remains of dinosaurs. Today, you can buy bone segments, teeth, even fossilized skin or footprints of your favorite giant reptiles. To finish off our weird and wonderful category, in 2002, a lock of Elvis Presley's hair was sold for $115,000. It had been saved by his barber and sold after his death in 1977. Having wealth can be a lot of fun when it comes to buying freedom and choices. And sometimes people want that freedom to choose to buy a dinosaur skeleton. We're finishing this list with something that's a stereotypical representation of wealth. Diamonds. Oh, and gold. Lots of gold. You name it, you can buy it covered in gold and encrusted with diamonds. A car, an iPhone, bags, shoes, TVs. You can have a gold shirt, a gold toilet, and even gold pills that turn your poo into shimmering golden, well, poo. Yeah, we don't know why anyone would want to do that either. The point is that if you have enough money, there's no end to what you can buy. You can guarantee that someone will have covered even the most mundane item in gold, like a Tiffany's 1,500 golden paperclip. From the essential to the pointless, this was our list of 8 things that rich people buy that you might not have heard of. There are many, many more, but these really stood out to us. Do you need any of them? Well, some would certainly be useful, and even essential in some cases, like having a second passport and kidnapping and ransom insurance should you ever need it. Others, perhaps not. We'll let you decide. If you have any other items that you think belong on this list, let us know in the comments below. We'll see you on the next one to keep helping you build on your path to wealth. Thanks for watching, and check out the next video. As always, remember to subscribe and turn on post notifications.